Hello students, we are discussing the chapter tissue, and in tissues we'll discuss the complex permanent tissue. What is a complex permanent tissue? The tissue which is composed of more than one type of cells are known as complex permanent tissue. वो टिश्यू बच्चे जिसमें एक से ज्यादा टाइप की सेल्स हैं और एक टिश्यू बन रहा है उसे हम क्या बोलते हैं? Complex permanent tissue. Before that, in the previous videos, you must have studied the simple tissues. The simple tissues are the tissues which are made up of one type of cells. All the cells of that particular tissue are of single type. In that you had studied the three types: parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. Now we'll discuss the more complex part that is known as complex permanent tissue. That is the tissue which is composed of more than one type of cells is known as complex permanent tissue. It is of two types. The first one is xylem and the second one is phloem. Both of these tissues are also known as conducting or vascular tissue of plants. Why they are known as conducting or vascular tissue? Because these tissues majorly plays the part of transportation of materials from one part of the plant to another. So they are also referred as transporting tissues. Whereas the previous tissues, that is simple permanent tissues, was basically for the mechanical strength, but that is for the transportation purpose. So the first tissue which we'll discuss in detail is the xylem. Xylem word is taken from xylose, that means wood. Xylem is composed of four components. The first one is xylem tracheids. The second one is xylem vessels. The third one, xylem fibers. And the fourth one is xylem parenchyma. So these are the four components present in xylem tissue. Out of these four, the three components are dead and one component is living. So xylem is composed of four components: xylem tracheids, xylem vessels, xylem fibers, which are the dead part of xylem tissue. Whereas the only living part is xylem parenchyma. As you had discussed, that parenchyma is a living tissue. These two plays the major role in the transportation. So these two are collectively known as tracheary elements. So this is xylem tracheids and xylem vessels, which are collectively known as tracheary elements. Why they are called so? Because major transportation role is played by both of these tissues. Next one. Now we'll discuss these tissues one by one. First one is tracheids. Xylem tracheids are long cells having pits in it. The specialized feature of these tissues, or you can say the xylem tissue, is they are lignified. They contain a storage which is known as, they contain a deposition which is known as lignin, and due to presence of this lignin they provide strength to the plant. So this is trachea bache. This one is referred as the pit. Through this pit, the water will moves ahead. Xylem majorly transports water and minerals from roots to leaves. For transportation in plants, two materials are need to be transported. प्लांट्स में सिर्फ दो ही मटेरियल ऐसे हैं जो ट्रांसपोर्ट होने चाहिए. द फर्स्ट वन, वाटर एंड मिनरल्स. व्हाई इज इट सो? बिकॉज वाटर मस्ट बी रीच टू द लीव्स फॉर photosynthesis. As you must have studied in your previous classes, in your smaller classes, that photosynthesis is the combination of carbon dioxide and water in the presence of chlorophyll to produce glucose, which is later on formed or stored in the form of starch. Oxygen gas is released by the leaves. That is a very common thing which you are studying, that you study in detail in your class 10th as well. But bachcho, how that water reaches to the top of the tree, that is through xylem tissue. And the place from where the plants get water is through soil, from or by the help of roots. So xylem transports the water along with the dissolved minerals from roots to leaves. So these tissues like tracheates help. These are lignin deposition. Lignin deposits bache. Due to presence of lignin, they have a quite strength in them. More the xylem tissue in the stem of a plant, more strong the stem, or more collection of wood would be there from that particular stem. So this is the tracheates. The second part which we will discuss is xylem vessels, or they are known as tracheae. Xylem vessels are dead part which is formed when the cells join together end to end. In this manner, from in between of that, you have to draw a gap, and now you can see, this is a duct like a pipe like structure is formed. This is vessels. The most efficient xylem component which transports the water and minerals in flowering plants. They are majorly present in flowering plants. In chapter named as diversity in living organism, you will study that the plants or the plants which possess flowers, plants are divided into two forms. One is the flowering plants which possess flowers, and other ones are non-flowering plants which do not possess flowers. So they are majorly present in flowering plants. They also possess the lignin pits. And as I discussed, I described you earlier, these lignin depositions makes them stronger, provides them strength. That is the only purpose of lignin present in the xylem. That lignin provide mechanical strength to that particular tissue. इसकी वजह से बच्चे strength बढ़ती है, strongness बढ़ती है, कोई चीज आसानी से टूटती नहीं. So this is xylem vessels. Xylem vessels along with the tracheates plays the major role in the transportation of water and minerals. Plus, due to presence of these vessels, the water can be reached up to very long heights. Like a plant like eucalyptus may be 30 meters in length. Eucalyptus एक प्लांट होता है बच्चे, वो 30 मीटर तक ऊंचा हो सकता है. तो बच्चे Up to that height, the water can be reached easily without the use of any electric pump. That is possible because of these fine capillary tubes, fine capillary elements like vessels and tracheids. The third component is xylem fibers. Xylem fibers are fiber-like structures having tapering ends. They do not play any major role in the transportation. They majorly provide the strength. That is also a dead component. And these are lignin pits in between. So that is the diagram of xylem fibers. They have wide, not cavity in between them and have tapering ends. What is the purpose they serve? Majorly they provide mechanical strength to the plant or to the xylem tissues. The last part of xylem tissue is xylem parenchyma. Parenchyma does not serve the function of transportation. Parenchyma is the only living component of the xylem. It plays the major role of storage of food or storage of materials. Parenchyma possesses vacuole in it, along with it a prominent nucleus and cytoplasm, as usual parenchyma does. So this is xylem parenchyma, performs the function of storage for the xylem tissues. It is the only living tissues of xylem. Other three are dead. The only living tissue of xylem is parenchyma. Now we will discuss the functions of xylem. The first function is transportation. Of which materials? Water and minerals. From where? From roots to leaves. Water along with the minerals, along with the dissolved minerals, is known as sap. So if someone asks you what is sap, the water along with the minerals which is to be transported from the roots to leaves is known as sap. Next thing, bache. There's a very interesting thing about that, bache. In our houses, there's a water tank placed at the top. हमारे घरों पे एक water tank ऊपर पड़ा है बच्चे, building के बिल्कुल ऊपर. Up to that height, we require electric motor to send water. आप सभी ने देखा होगा बच्चे, मम्मा या पापा मोटर ऑन करते हैं, इलेक्ट्रिक मोटर, इलेक्ट्रिक पंप ऑन करते हैं, उसकी हेल्प से पानी ऊपर जाता है. But the plants which are even 30 meter, 50 meter, 100 meters high, like pine trees, they do not have an electric motor, electric switch. So how water can be reached up to that heights, up to that long heights? That is because of the transpiration. There is a term related to this transportation, and that is transpiration. What is transpiration? Loss of excess water from the leaves of the plant through stomata. Stomata are tiny microscopic pores present in the leaves or the green shoots. Those tiny microscopic pores are known as stomata, and through those stomata, the excessive water of the plants will be removed away. Due to that loss, an area of low pressure is generated at the top. Suppose करो बच्चों ये एक ट्री है, ये roots है. Roots has a feature that they continuously remain in contact with the moisture. रूट्स हमेशा बच्चे मिट्टी के अंदर रहती हैं, तो मॉइस्चर कंटिन्यूसली उनके कांटेक्ट में। लीव से पानी लॉस हो गया, दैट इज नोन एज ट्रांसपायरेशन। Due to that loss, the pressure area at the top is low, but at the bottom the pressure of water is high. बच्चे रूट्स के पास तो पानी लगातार है, तो वहां पर प्रेशर हाई है और यहां पर प्रेशर लो है। So due to this a pressure gradient is formed. Due to this a pressure difference is created. Gradient means difference. So the water will starts to move from its higher pressure to lower pressure through xylem tissue. So that's how transpiration pull helps in the transportation of water and minerals up to the higher plants, which are even 30 meters, 40 meters high, without the use of any electric pump. A natural pump is there, which is known as transpiration pull. एक खिंचाव क्रिएट हो रहा है बच्चे, जो ट्रांसपायरेशन की वजह से बना है, और उस खिंचाव की वजह से पानी मिनरल्स के साथ कहां जा रहा है? एट द टॉप। सेकंड बच्चे, स्ट्रेंथ। ड्यू टू प्रेजेंस ऑफ लिग्निन इन xylem, it provides strength to the plant. You can write the wood as well. Basically, more the kind of xylem, more the amount of xylem in the stem, more wood we get. So these are the functions of xylem tissue. A very important one marker definition is there, that is transpiration. So this is the xylem tissue.